Okay, so what you got?
The other day, I was at a restaurant eating in the courtyard, and I went inside to the bathroom for a couple minutes and walked back out, and I noticed that my laptop and my iPhone were gone.
Whoa.
And sort of living in Asheville, I guess I never really think about things getting stolen in broad daylight at a restaurant. There were other people around, but there is like a back entrance to the courtyard at that restaurant that runs through an alley, and I guess someone just walked by, saw the stuff on the table, jumped in and grabbed it and took off.
Whoa.
And so I was obviously very upset. It was, my computer I use for my work, and a brand new iPhone 7, new laptop, both rather valuable. Cops came, took a report, and we did track the iPhone for a bit on the computer at the restaurant, but then they turned it off, and you can't track a phone when it's off. But later in the day, I was able to borrow my friend's phone and check the tracking again, and the phone had been turned back on. So I drove to where it was showing the phone, which was somewhere downtown Asheville, and there was a guy walking around openly carrying my laptop case. And so I kept them in sight, called the police. It took them a while to get there, but I didn't want to confront him myself, obviously. It's a good way to get killed. You never know if someone has a gun or a knife or whatever. I didn't want to confront him myself, but I kept him in view. Police came, and I got all my stuff back.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess not a criminal mastermind, that guy, but
no.
I think it's rare to have your things stolen and then recovered in the same day. So
Yeah, that's
anyway, I lucked out, I suppose. And now I'm going to be a lot more careful about leaving stuff sitting around.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, that's my story. One word that I think of, not necessarily, I don't know if I have an opinion whether I like or dislike it, but the term woke seems to be both used a lot and the object of criticism, because I think a lot of especially privileged white people try to sometimes describe themselves as being quote unquote woke. I think woke means essentially being cognizant of social justice issues and racial inequality and gender inequality and societal biases and things like that. Woke as in being awake to the realities of sort of social injustice. And I think when a lot of times white people like myself, I've seen people use it to describe themselves, and they can come under criticism for that because they're trying to sort of gain credit, I think, among people of color and minorities and things like that, sort of patting themselves on the back. Look how aware I am of all of the issues you face from my privileged standpoint. So anyway, that's a word that I think of. Well, a lot of it is, more of it is being written today than ever. There are so many poets today, and Americans don't tend to read much poetry. They read fiction and nonfiction, but poetry doesn't sell well at all. And I just wish more people would delve into contemporary poetry and buy some poetry books and see what's happening in the poetry world today.
Is there certain poets that we should know about?
Tons. There's so many poets. It's hard to give just 2 or 3 recommendations, but you might start with recent poet laureates of the United States. A lot of people don't even know the U.S. has a poet laureate, but there is a poet laureate appointed by the Library of Congress every year. Some great recent poet laureates are Natasha Trethewey, who's an African-American poet. She writes a lot about historical slave trade and historical race issues and things like that. She's a brilliant poet. W.S. Merwin is another recent poet laureate. He lives in Hawaii. He's rather old now, I think in his 80s, but he lives in Hawaii and cultivates rare tropical plants and palm species. So those are two poet recommendations: Natasha Trethewey and W.S. Merwin.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, that was good.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Welcome again, participants, to another episode of Student of Life, the game show, Conquest 24.
I was recording in a coffee shop, and while I edit this episode, I leave my computer alone at times, and I just think to myself how terrible it would be if I got it stolen while I was editing this episode, because it was a clear warning not to do it. So if this is on the air, that means that it didn't get stolen, so I took the chance and it worked out this time. Next up, let's get a little Basketball Legends gambling strategy from a friend.
Yeah.
It's the Basketball Legends strategy. So, you bet numbers on roulette. You know how the rules of roulette work? Different odds, different bets. But the worst odds are betting straight on a number. Chip straight on a number, no splits. You can bet on a corner that covers 4 numbers, or halves that cover 2 numbers,
Okay.
or you can bet on a single number. So I bet single numbers certain times of the game when I'm playing, but I bet on Basketball Legends. You know who they are?
Well, the number 33 and 32 are to the two of the bigger ones, but
All right, so
6.
So Bird, Magic, 32.
Right, 32 and 33, right? Bird was 33.
Yeah. Neek.
21.
Yeah. Jordan.
23.
In 15.
For who?
For me.
Okay. That's your number.
Yeah, that's my number.
So how'd you go about picking those specific
So there's
legends?
a few other numbers though too.
Right. Well, okay.
Why those people?
Yeah. I guess because those are the legends from when growing up and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
You're not picking old school legends, and you're not picking.
I was born in the 80s, so I'll be honest. I will occasionally throw down on Hakeem.
Right. And the 33, right, 30, it's interesting because
34.
32, 33, 34,
And that also covers me a little bit on Shaq.
and also Kareem.
Fuck Kareem.
Why do you hate Kareem?
You can use that in your podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't hate Kareem. It's just fuck Kareem. I don't know. Numbers, but they're basketball legends and they hit all the time. But when you start, let's say you're like, okay, I'm only gonna bet $100 tonight, win or lose. It's all I'm laying down, right? So go in and buy in for $1 chips. It'll probably be a $15 table, and meaning a $15 minimum bet.
Okay.
So you could bet $15 on the number 23. Done that before.
And when you say the worst odds, you mean you make the most money.
You make the most money,
right, I
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Whereas, because you're having one chip taking up 4, well, it's going to be 25%.
So what I do is there's 3 thirds. There's 1 through 36 numbers, and then there's 2 green, 0 and 00. So I bet on 2 thirds because they pay out 3 to 1. So I bet $15 on 1 through 12 and 13 through 25, 24, whatever that is. And the only way you lose, obviously, is if it hits the third,
right,
and or 0, 00.
Okay.
And I keep doing it.
So
even if it loses one time, I just keep betting on the same 2 thirds.
Okay. So
And
you're not going to win that much, but
you're going to incrementally go up, and then
Right.
once I incrementally go up, I bet on single numbers, Basketball Legends.
Okay. So do you start when you're down to 15, or you always do it on those 2 thirds?
I just always, I by habit bet on the same 2 thirds
Uh-huh.
for the longest time.
How
And
much
then
of your 15?
No, it's a
All of your
$15
15.
minimum bet.
Uh-huh.
So I bet $30 in that situation.
Oh.
Yeah.
So each bet you put down has to be at least 15.
No, you have to have 15 on the table, but
okay.
so basically you could go 7 and 7 or something like
that's
that.
Or 7, 8 and 7.
Yeah, 8 and 7.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
I like that. All right, you want to roll?
Do you understand how to play it?
Yeah, a little bit. It does sound fun, actually. You are kind of convincing me a little bit.
Dude, I'm telling you. You gotta just...
Because it's also, it sounds like sort of like my strategy with what I'm doing as far as...
Trash, by the way, I'm sorry.
Huh?
Some papers everywhere.
It's all good. It's kind of like what I'm doing with the football. Like, it's like you're playing a lot of bets, and chances of you losing everything are very slim.
Yeah, well, so on that one, like, you're incrementally going up. So my experience has been, I might be willing to play with, like, a little bit more.
Hey. Thank you.
This next recording was taking place while hiking in Western Carolina with some friends. You can hear Fritz briefly make a return appearance.
1972, 74, and they're originals. So, yeah, they're kind of rare, actually.
Is that your instrument of choice?
I found that one is something that I feel free on. I'm not trained in anything classically with music, but I've played it, on and off, recorded music, vocals, things like that. But I feel like that's like because drums are the most ancient instrument, it's closely related to your heartbeat. It's kind of more natural for some people, but keeping a rhythm is not always natural for some people. So that's where the keeping a pattern can make you good or bad, I guess.
Where are you from?
Originally from Northern Ohio.
Yeah, because you said pattern.
Yeah.
Pattern sounded Midwestern.
Right, yeah, a lot of people hear that.
Now all I can hear.
Canadian border, close to it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but I grew up with my dad
Your
playing
dad.
music. My grandfather, my brothers. My brother's a classically trained piano player.
Nice. Oh no.
I rolled it. On this simple trail?
Let's turn back.
Christ.
Gotta go back.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What animals?
One of my favorites, we worked with red-tailed hawks, volunteered with them. I volunteered with owls. What other ones were my favorites? Wolves. Worked with them. They were really cool. Yeah. So that was.
And when you say you work with them, like you go into business with them, they're business partners of yours?
No, I had to clean their cages, feed them, get pretty close. Apparently they did this research, and I can't remember from where now, but people that eat hot sauce, apparently there's a correlation with that and people's personalities being more adventurous.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Huh. I like that.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
I like hot sauce. I had hot sauce yesterday.
Kansas City, right here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Come on, let's go, dude.
A pilot.
Yeah,
Oh, you want to fly a plane or something?
I have flown a plane.
You have?
Once. Yeah, it was amazing.
Whoa.
It was really cool.
So wait, you had obviously been trained to do it.
No, I had what's called a discovery flight, and the pilot was with me, but I was in the pilot seat.
Oh, okay. Wow.
He kind of like guided me to do stuff, but it was
Right, but at times you were like flying it yourself.
Oh yeah, most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great. And then of course martial arts.
How long you been doing the martial arts?
This kind, well, a little over 2 years.
Illumination.
So,
What's this kind?
ninjutsu. We train with like weapons. I went to Japan to train for like a month there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So like nunchucks and swords and stuff?
Swords, bow staff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
bow
amazing.
weapon that we use for training with air shoes. Oh, this is from last time.
Ooh, the sun.
Oh, you all did that?
To close out today's program, Steve-O.
So your name is Steve-O. And you're cool with me recording? Yeah, I'm cool with you recording. So, I have to ask you one thing, Devo.
Yeah.
Before we go any further.
Yeah.
Are you a cop?
No.
Okay, just check.
Why would I be the cop?
Well, I'm definitely not the cop. Okay.
Good.
So now we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
So everything's wide open at this point.
Neither of us are cops. Yeah. How do you feel about police?
I am afraid of police more than I am in. I'm afraid. 51% I'm afraid of cops, and that changes, but it probably doesn't change to the point where that I'm not afraid of cops.
Right. I mean, I definitely understand, understand their need, of course.
Wait. Stop there.
Yeah.
Before you butt that, you understand what need?
To have a police force.
You understand the need for a police force.
Yeah.
Because, why do you see it as a need?
Well, it's just not as, my thing is that it's not as needed as, there's too much policing. For instance, on the roads, you know, we don't need to be pulling people over left and right.
Well, now you're talking about the quality of policing.
Yeah, but right, yeah, exactly.
And that's really what the conversation is about, the quality of policing.
For sure.
Because my friends police me.
Yeah.
They don't beat me up. They don't power trip me, although sometimes they do, but when they do, there's not a repercussion of it that would endanger my liberty.
So what you're saying is culture, society, for the most part, polices themselves.
Does society police itself? I didn't say that.
Okay. But your friends do, in your case, in your culture.
My friends are responsibly policing me. Like, for example, when I turn into an asshole after I've been drinking too much, they don't fucking cause me problems. They try to cause me enlightenment. And if they want to police me with causing me enlightenment, I am happy to receive that. Because there's not an oppression of my individuality. There's an opportunity for me to collaborate in a different way that may be beneficial to them and really ultimately beneficial to me.
Right.
So when you talk about policing, it really is about quality.
Right. No, I agree.
What service actually are you delivering? That's the question.
Right. And so it's like, we're going about it the wrong way right now. I mean, well, in a lot of cases.
Let's not say we're going about it the wrong way. Let's say we're going about it in the way that we know how to, that we've all kind of agreed on, whether consciously or unconsciously, to allow policing to occur. Look, I police people going down the road sometimes. And after I police them, I either say, hey, that was a good policing, or it's like, dude, you were just a fucking asshole. Your policing was being a fucking asshole. You were trying to power trip someone, you were pissed off, you were projecting your crap onto them, and you were trying to control them so I could find my own security in a situation where I was uncomfortable. That's policing. That's one way to police. Another way to police is to say, oh, look, you're walking down the road and you're stumbling. I could police you by coming up to you and saying, hey, brother, I see you're stumbling a little bit. Do you need any assistance? Is everything okay? Are you having a seizure?
Right.
Are you fucking...
Right, trying to help. Help the situation.
So what would that be? Help the situation. How to de-escalate a situation? Escalation compared to de-escalation. Imagine if we all went around to de-escalate. Everyone. That's what we were trained to do in school. To de-escalate. Everyone, there's going to be one thing that you learn in high school. De-escalation.
Be good.
But we're not. We're focused on escalating because we're fucking insecure. and scared. So we have to oppress other people through escalation in order to feel security and okayness.
Yeah, you nailed it. That was good. I agree with all that. Cheers, Steve-O.
Cheers, Steve-O.
Steve-O, you said you're from Pittsburgh. You a Pirates fan or a
Well,
Steelers
back in the
fan?
day,
How about
I was
Steel-
both.
Okay.
That was a long
Surprising
time
never
ago.
had basketball.
It's been baseball and football and
What about Pitt University, Pitt Panthers?
Pitt Panthers.
Fan?
Man, you know, I support people in their creative expression of themselves. But I'm not a sports fan.
I like that answer. That's good. Do you have a favorite movie line?
Yeah, but I can't remember it. Damn.
Just give it a shot.
No, the only, all I see is the Big Lebowski. That's all I see. I don't even have a line. I just see it.
Just
all
the world
of
Big
it.
Lebowski. I love the Coen brothers, man. They're my favorite of all time.
standard